I want to read you a tweet from the St. Louis Cardinals outfielder, Dexter Fowler. He said this over the weekend. For the record, I know this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but athletes are human and not properties of the team that they work for. That was in response to days of heavy criticism he took for commenting on Trump's travel ban and the direct impact that it has on him and his family. Fowler's wife is from Iran, and she and her sister have had a hard time returning to the U.S. and other family members, too, since that executive order had come down. Fowler, when asked about it, called the order unfortunate. But what was reported in some places came off as a direct criticism of Trump and of his administration, something that some baseball fans didn't appreciate. Earlier this morning, as I was getting ready to come and do the show, I found another article that I hadn't had time to share with you yet on sportsonearth.com, and it has a bunch of bullet points of things that Fowler did not say. He did not say Donald Trump is a terrible president. He did not say Donald Trump is a bad person. I think Donald Trump's Muslim ban is evil and anti-American. He did not say I disagree with Donald Trump on most political issues. He did not say I voted for Hillary Clinton. He did not say if you like Donald Trump, you are a bad person. He did not say I am attempting to make a strong political statement right now. Yet it came off that way.
We don't really know what his political feelings are because he was putting it in the context of my family. He said, my wife and I can't even think about taking our child to see his relatives overseas for fear about all of that. But that's all he said. And yet, and I'm sorry, I'm a broken record on this show, but the social media fueled outrage, basically you have all these people saying, shut up and play ball, when he was being very respectful in his response. So it's typical and it's sad that this is what happens anytime somebody says anything now.
We saw it with Tom Brady back in terms of his accusations against him that he was supporting Trump. But the tweet you put up there raises interesting questions, and I'm the last person to be a sports historian, but Curt Flood back in the 60s on the very same team, St. Louis Cardinals, raised similar issues. Then it was about ownership, and he was comparing it to slavery in terms of how players were bought and sold. And so it's interesting that it comes up for the Cardinals again, but it does raise the question, what can a employer expect from its employees in terms of conduct? And it's a very public employer and employees that have very public persona, but that's the question that it raises.
I mean, I think the parallels with Curt Flood are really interesting, too. I mean, this is back in the 60s, and the team had a much different attitude about what he was saying because he was directly attacking their economic interests. And so they traded him. And he said, I don't want to be traded. And he sued. And although he lost in court, he basically ended up bringing free agency into existence with a lot of players' rights and a lot of astronomical salaries for baseball players that you wouldn't see today. The Cardinals this time around, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, I'll say maybe they were sticking up for him for reasons other than economic interests, but they did stand behind him.
They just paid a whole lot of money to get him.
Now, what, $85 million for 5 years or something? So,
Are we about to see sports become a whole lot more political? We've also seen some of these discussions about members of the New England Patriots who may or may not go to visit Trump at the White House.
We saw it on our campus.
Or whether or not Gino Auriemma is going to take his team to go to celebrate the 100. Go ahead. You're saying
we saw it on our campus when the football team came out in favor of the Concerned Student 1950 group. And so we could see it two ways. It could be teams like that. That worked because the whole team was behind it. And we could see teams, whether it's professional or college teams, go on strike for things that they believe in. Or we could see individuals who start to realize that they have a pretty big platform and that maybe what they think might be important, they run the risk, like people in the entertainment industry, actors and musicians, that they will lose fans over it. But that's a risk I think some of them will probably take.
I do think that you're more likely to see really well-established superstar athletes with multi-million-dollar contracts, stepping out and talking about this. I mean, Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers, for example, on bended knee when the national anthem was being played, because they will be savaged in social media if they say anything at all is political. But I think there was another angle, and you pointed it out through one of the readings on our blog, and that may also be the fact that we're seeing a lot more of these stories because sports journalists now are much more uniformly liberal in their outlook toward how players are treated, how the institutions like the NFL treat things like head injuries and sexual abuse by their players. So the reporters are focusing on these stories and going to athletes to get quotes for them where they might not have been so likely to do that in the past.
Well, the owners in the leagues have made themselves easy villains in storytelling, whether it's a individual owner who has racist comments that get caught on tape someplace, or whether it's a gigantic corporation like the NFL and what it does. So we love to tell stories, and we love David and Goliath stories, and it's hard to think that an $85 million athlete is David in that scenario, but he can be.
Dexter Fowler said, he is still human. He is not just a St. Louis Cardinal.